Allen Trieu joining us right before another high school football season starts. We have so many great recruits in this area, Allen, so we're going to kind of go through your top 10 in your expert opinion. Who is your number 10 recruit in the area for this year?
Yeah, we're going to start with Tamarion Stewart, running back from Mona Shores. He's going to be, I think, a 4-year varsity guy for them. He's committed to Miami, Ohio to play college football. And I think what makes him special is you don't have a lot of running backs who are powerlifting champions. He lifts as much as some of their linemen do. So very strong, very powerful, probably could play linebacker in college if he wanted to, but he's going to be a power back at Miami, Ohio. And so I think a lot of Mona Shore's opponents are pretty happy this is his last year.
With him being so strong, how much could that help him in this recruiting process in an era where running backs are seen as so abundant?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely separated him. He posted a few clips of him doing squats in the weight room, and I think that caught a lot of college attention. And so I think a lot of schools have had their eye on him because he's going to be able to step in right away and be as physically strong as any running back on the roster that he comes into. So he's going to be physically ready to compete at the college level.
Awesome. What about, who's your number 9? Who's your next guy?
Yeah, it's Jacob Timmer from West Catholic. And actually saw him 2 years ago when he was a sophomore. Was looking at some other guys on his roster and thought, who's this 6'7" sophomore offensive tackle? And so he's developed into a really, really good player. Committed to Central Michigan. Honestly, I'm nothing against Central Michigan. I'm a little bit surprised that the Michigan States of the world didn't come in and try to recruit him. We've seen that happen with some area linemen the last couple of years, though. J.J. Hurtis and Gabe Van Sickle at Coopersville kind of blew up during their senior year. So Central might have to watch that one a little bit, as I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of Big Ten schools came and took a look at Jacob, 6'7", now almost 280 pounds.
Yeah, Matt Drinkle's going to have to hold on to him a little bit tighter. Who's number 8 on your list?
Yeah, George Duggins, another Mona Shores guy. I think, for me, he's one of the more underappreciated guys in the whole state. I don't know if outside of the Muskegon area and outside of Mona Shores, people know a lot about George Duggins, but two-way guy, really outstanding wide receiver, wins a lot of 50-50 balls, then goes over to the other side, and they can play him in the box. He can play deep at safety, had 75 tackles a year ago, but makes a lot of plays when the ball's in the air. So he's committed to Dartmouth, another guy that I thought maybe would get recruited by some Big Ten schools, but obviously you can't turn down that Ivy League education, and I think he's a really, really nice pickup for Dartmouth.
Yeah. All right, where are we at? Number 7 now? Who's number 7 on your list?
He's a guy, Jaden Terry at Granville, that I think has been on this list every year since he was a sophomore. He's been such a standout during that whole time. He fits their system perfectly. Obviously, they run the ball a lot at Granville, but he brings a little something different to the table in that he's a track guy. Got sub-11 speed in the 100 meters. Very, very explosive, can take the ball to the end zone from any part of the field, and I think he's primed for a big senior year. Also, honestly, one of the hardest working high school players that I've seen in the area. Always seems to be on a football field or working out, and I think he's already been dangerous the last 3 years, and even more so as a senior.
Football and track kind of go hand in hand for a lot of these guys. How much do colleges like to see these guys perform in track as well?
Yeah, I think it's very important, especially for skill guys. On film, it's sometimes you don't know who they're running away from, and it's easier to look at a track time and know exactly how fast some of these guys are. And also when college coaches are on the road in the spring, that's when they can get out there. That's track season, so a lot of time college coaches are out there watching track meets, and that's not just for the sprinters, but they're watching the big guys throw shot and discus and all that as well.
Yeah. All right, number 6, who you got?
Yeah, number 6, I have Braden Sweeney, linebacker from Grand Rapids Catholic Central. You know, he's a guy that you go to one of those games and he's making seemingly every tackle. He's always around the ball. Purdue came in here and recruited him. That's a new staff at Purdue. They don't have as many ties to the Grand Rapids area, but we're able to identify him as a top guy, got him down, got him committed. And you talk to other coaches in the area, and they say this is the kind of guy that can go to college and lead a team in tackles, maybe be a team captain, but just been a really, really good player at CC for at least the last 3 years.
What is it about him that makes these coaches think that he could be a team captain already when he's still in high school?
I think just his approach. You know, you talk to him, he's got a maturity about him, he's got a work ethic to him, and sometimes you talk about a guy like that and maybe it sounds like he's all intangibles, but he's also a really good athlete. I mean, he's 6'1", 6'2", and can dunk a basketball, so in addition to what he's been able to do in terms of his intangibles, he's a good athlete as well, so don't want to glaze over that.
Yeah. All right, we're going to the top 5 now. Who's your number 5 player?
Yeah, it's Charlie Gillick out of Portage Central. And he's a guy who I think colleges were a little bit unsure of where to play him. He plays middle linebacker at 6'4", 230 pounds, but they thought maybe we can convert him into a defensive lineman. Plays tight end, blocks a lot in their system. They thought, could he be a tight end? Could he be an offensive lineman someday maybe? Sounds like he's going to play tight end right away at UCF. That's where he's committed. And again, for them to come all the way up to Portage and recruit a tight end, that's not typical, and so they really identified him as a top guy. They've had a lot of success with skill, talent, and tight ends if you look at UCF's recent history. So I think he's going to go down there and get some opportunities. I thought a lot of schools around here kind of missed the boat on Charlie and let him get away and go down to UCF.
Wow, and Portage staying on the map.
Yeah.
Who's your number 4 guy?
Yeah, number 4 guy, Sullivan Garvin at Allegan. Had a chance to go down there and see him play last year, and really, really good player. We haven't had a ton of guys from Allegan make this list, but when you're 6'5" plus 300 pounds and are one of the fastest guys on the team, that's usually a pretty good sign. He's committed to Notre Dame, so not going too far, just crossing the Indiana border to South Bend. But again, Notre Dame can go nationally for offensive linemen. They don't have to come to Allegan to recruit offensive line, and I think Sully's a kid that has so much potential still, and he's going to a place that will develop him.
How does a school like Notre Dame end up catching on to a kid from Allegan?
I think he did a good job of getting himself out. And those schools do a great job of scouting and looking everywhere, and certainly Twitter, Huddle, Instagram, social media helps, but I think he also did a really good job of getting to camps and making sure his name was out there. He knew it was going to be hard to get coaches from all over the country to find him in Allegan, and he did a good job of making sure that he was noticed.
All right, number 3 now, right? Who's
We're
number
to
3?
number 3, yeah.
Wow.
Cade Kaufman, quarterback at East Kentwood, and honestly, I think he's going to have something to say about the number 1 spot. Last year was his first year as a starter. New staff at East Kentwood, I thought they did a great job of gelling, but with another offseason together, I think he's going to put up some huge numbers this year. And his approach is what's really impressive. You know, he's got a really good arm. He's a better athlete than people think, but I think what's between the ears and his maturity, that's what the new staff said about him right away when they got there, was he conducts himself like a professional. And when they were at Detroit King, they had Dante Moore, who's now at Oregon. They've had DeQuan Finn, who ended up at Baylor. They know quarterbacks, and they say he's one of the best they've had, and I think he's going to prove that this season.
When you're dealing with a new high school coaching staff, how do these guys continue to make themselves stand out and not get overlooked by coaches because, oh, it might be a crazy year with a new staff?
Yeah, I think, first of all, the staff had a lot of connections with college coaches. They brought that over from Detroit King, so that helped. And Cade is another guy that I think just consistently got out in front of coaches. He's committed to Michigan State. He camped there last summer. He got in front of their coaches again. There were constantly coaches coming in and out in the winter to watch him throw, I think partly because there weren't a ton of quarterbacks in the state, so that helped him a little bit as well. But Michigan State did a great job of jumping on him early. When they offered him a scholarship, he wasn't a national recruit yet. That happened a little bit later once Michigan State had already built the relationship.
Yeah. All right, number 2 now. Who is that?
Number 2, we're going back down to Portage. Gregory Patrick at Portage Northern, offensive lineman, also committed to Notre Dame. So Notre Dame seems to like the state of Michigan's offensive lineman this year. Greg's going to be a 4-year starter, got college offers, major college offers in his freshman year. Dad played at the college level, so and coaches him now. So very well schooled. He's about as technically sound of a high school offensive lineman as I've seen in my time doing this. But again, you hear that and you think maybe he's not a great athlete. He combines that with the ability to move, bend, and with a dad for a coach, you know, he's always out. Every time I talk to them, they're doing drills, they're working on something. He's a future coach one day himself, I think. So Greg combines kind of this physical size at 6'5", 280-some pounds, with the ability to bend, with kind of the mindset of a coach.
Wow. What does he do that makes you think that he could be a coach one day already?
A lot of attention to detail. And honestly, when I go see him work out, or when I see him practice or play in a game, he's always coaching his teammates. He's always coaching other players. He notices little technical things that they may be doing right or wrong. He does a lot of those things himself. So it's not just, sometimes high school offensive linemen, they're just bigger, stronger, faster than everybody else. With him, he's also technically better than the people he's going against.
Wow. All right, number 1. This is a big one this year. It's a big one every year, but who's your number 1 for this year?
Yeah, this one's unusual in that this is our only junior on the list. That's how good he is. Ricardo Kitchen at Muskegon, defensive end. He's played varsity since his freshman year, and he was 6'6" then, and has continued to fill out. I just saw him about a month ago at Michigan State, and he's gone from kind of this wiry, looks like a freshman, sophomore, to now filled out, pushing 250 pounds, and looks every bit the part of a high-level Division I recruit. So when you've got, you know, Michigan and Michigan State offering scholarships, but also Tennessee and schools like that coming in here, he's a national recruit. They've had him a lot at Muskegon. He's as talented as any player that's come through that program, I think, in the last 5 to 10 years, though. Dealt with some injuries last year, So I think they're expecting even a bigger season out of him this year because he's fully healthy and he's made those physical strides in the offseason.
How big is his junior year going to be for him and his recruitment?
I think huge because I think a lot of schools want to see it. He's also playing some tight end, which he's really good on that side of the ball, and I think that's going to raise his profile even more. I think Muskegon's replacing some key parts, so he's going to take on a bigger role on both sides of the ball. And if he does what they think and what I think he could do, both on offense and defense, I think he can get even a higher profile at the national level. You know, he's a top 100 to top 150 national recruit, but I think he's got the talent to be a top 25 to 50 national recruit if all goes well this year.
Nice. Multiple guys from the Muskegon, Mona Shores area, multiple from Portage. What is it about these two areas that has kind of allowed them to develop such good football talent this year?
Well, sometimes it's, I guess, luck of the draw. You have that talent in your school system, but I think they've also done a really good job of cultivating that talent. Really well coached. And again, when I go out to college camps, when I go to off-season events, I'm always seeing those players at these events. So they're not just resting on their film. They're not just kind of, I suppose you should enjoy your summer, but they're not just laying around all summer doing whatever it is, playing video games. They're out there working. I think the culture at those programs is very important. So obviously there's some base talent in those buildings, but I think the staffs there have done a really good job of making sure they develop it.
Yeah. All right, Allen, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. We love seeing you here every year right before the season. It feels like football season now.
It's getting close. Yeah, I'm excited.